Hello everyone, welcome to Sack Kings Talk, presented by Cap City Crown. This is Tony with me. As always, we've got John. It's been a couple weeks since we talked, but we're back trying to break down the latest Kings action. Whatever that may be. And we're still in August, late August. Not the most exciting time or, news-filled time for basketball in general, although the FIBA World Cup is happening. I don't think there's any Kings. But yeah, latest news around the Kings hub is Kings brought back former King, Skal Labissiere to a, partially guaranteed contract. Just starting off there, I don't know, how do you feel about that?
I mean, they're obviously going to make sure that they don't run into the same issue they had last season. They're going to assess a good amount of bodies in training camp. Now, does Skal have a chance to make the team? Well, to start, they're probably only going to carry 3 true centers and then include Trey Lyles in there. So you have 4 options, essentially. So you're going to have Sabonis, Len's on a guaranteed contract. So basically, you got one of the 3, Nerlens Noel, not the holiday. It means Christmas. We've been over this, but
we can go over it again.
No, we don't. We don't need to do that.
We need stuff to talk about.
Nerlens Noel, Neemias Queta, and Skal Labissiere. One of them will probably make the team, and then what happens to the other 2? Maybe they play for Stockton, maybe they don't. I don't know. But Labissiere is going to have to prove that he's better than basically Nerlens Noel and even Neemias Queta to even really have a shot at that. But yeah, I mean, that center situation is kind of interesting because you seemed a year ago, it's like there's so much complacency and satisfaction, out of complacency from satisfaction of Sabonis, Holmes, at least amongst the fan base, because clearly the Kings did try to move Holmes last offseason, couldn't quite do it. You hold on to him, but still, it's he's going to back you up. You got to think about that positively. And, you got Alex Len, who is, if he's your third center, that's a great third center. And then they ended up having to juggle around pieces. You saw a lot of Chimezie Metu. You saw
a little too much Chimezie Metu.
Probably. You just had a lot of good moments, and you had a lot of moments where it's this guy can't be your primary backup 5.
Where is Metu? Phoenix?
The Suns, yeah. He's signed with Phoenix.
All right. Good luck to you, Phoenix.
Chimezie Metu.
You deal with him.
Well, I thought it was interesting because Chimezie Metu on the TNT game against the Nets, he got into it with Kevin Durant as they were going into a timeout.
Yeah.
I remember writing about it in the recap, kind of going this was a great night for everybody except Chimezie Metu, who was the only I think he was the only person that had a minus, his plus minus was the only one in the negative. He's mouthing off to Kevin Durant. Chimezie Metu, mouthing off to Kevin Durant. And I'm just man, know your place. But now they're teammates.
That chemistry is just going to be fantastic. Do you think Kevin Durant even knows who Chimezie Metu is? This who? Yeah,
he probably doesn't. Yeah, no idea.
Who do we get?
CM. We got KD and CM Punk.
Oh my goodness.
It's a shame Metu's not on the team. That would have been a great nickname for the
CM
season.
Punk.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Too bad we didn't think of it.
For all you Suns fans out there.
For all you Suns fans, you WWE fans, comment if you're going to go to the SmackDown episode September 29th. I'll be there. Anyone wants to say hello?
Tony will tweet out his section and seat number. And he'll do a raffle. And whoever wins gets to spend the night, not the night, I should be careful I say this, gets to spend the event sitting next to Tony's wife.
Yeah.
You get a date with Tony's wife.
Here you go. My wife.
All right. We clearly have a bunch on the docket to talk about today. One of the things, before we get into talking about the centers a little bit more, although that was a good chunk of news, it was a piece of news that was interesting to Kings fans. I mean, I don't want to undersell the Labissiere thing because, he got drafted by the Kings in 2016 out of Kentucky. He was a guy that Kings fans were high on. Tony, in fact, it was your first article for...
My first article, I used to write for Cowbell Kingdom for a second as an intern. My first article was in 2018.
2018.
It's 2018. I think it was Skal's third year in SAC. It was going into his third year. So he was drafted in 2016. It's 2016, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19. Yeah. So it was going into his third year, his last year in SAC. I was saying how, because I remember Skal bulked up a lot going into that season. It's like, look at this guy. That's when you kind of assumed he was going to be a center. And he had just drafted Marvin Bagley as well. So he was going to have to fight for some minutes. And we had Harry Giles as well still. So I'm like, dang, we got Bagley, we got Labissiere, we got Harry Giles. Man, look at this. Look at these trees out here. Yeah. Well, yeah. Clearly my article just was nonsense.
But the point is that Labissiere, it kind of as opposed to maybe like Papagiannis, where you didn't really...
Papagiannis.
Was there, like, it felt like Labissiere had, like, there was a belief. Like, people were kind of excited.
He
there was
ended his rookie season so well. Mm-hmm. He killed... I think he scored 20 points in a quarter in his rookie season. And it was, like, kind of towards the end where he was getting a little more playing time. It's like, oh, like, we got a guy. And then he just never really panned out. I think we all held on to that 20-point quarter. And he had like the fundamental... Not fundamentals, but he had, like, he had a great mid-range game, back to the basket mid-range game, which you don't really see in the NBA anymore. Not like that. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of fun to watch. And it's like, man, like, he can knock that down on a consistent basis. He probably got a spot in this league. But he, like I was telling John, he was just kind of came up around a time where he was more of a power forward, but kind of anyone over 6'10" was kind of transitioning into the center role regardless. And yeah, and he was like almost a stretch five where it's like he kind of believed he could be it, but he just never really developed that 3-point shot. He just like, it kind of just stuck in between. I call it like the Michael Beasley, where it's like you're too small to be a power forward, but you're just a little unathletic enough to be a small forward. Mm-hmm. Like Derek Williams too. That's what I call it. It's like, what are you? Yeah. They're just like stuck in between the two.
Yeah.
Size and weight wise. I don't know. But I feel like Skal was that between the power forward and center.
Yeah, because one of the questions I had after they signed him for you was, do you think, because it seemed like, as you kind of laid out there, it was that power forward was his main position, right?
On the Kings it was.
Right. And so with the league being fully, ingrained in it, when they got him, it was that transitionary period to where we're at now. With it being kind of established that he is a 5. He's not going to be playing the 4.
I mean, I think, I assume so now. He's going to be a 5. Some people, I mean, you wrote an article on it. I posted it. Some people were commenting that, like, no, he's not a 5. He's a power forward. But...
Yeah, let's ask Mike Brown. I think Mike Brown has something different to say.
Yeah, there's not a lot of 6'10".
He's 6'10" and 240, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's a center in this league.
Yeah. He's going to be a center.
If he can stretch the floor, then maybe you can play him at the 4,
but he won't at a high club.
Yeah. It's one of those things, though. It's just like reading up on his draft profile and stuff like that. Didn't really shoot the 3-ball well at Kentucky, but he was always that... We're 2 months off of basically of the draft talk that we were doing, and it just seems like one of the funniest things that's so common in that is just like, didn't shoot very well, but he's got all the fundamentals to develop the 3-point shot, which is just such an empty promise for so many people, Skal Labissiere included. But he shot really well at like basketball summits and this kind of like non-collegiate play, places to exhibit your skill set and stuff like that. And one of the things that he told Sean Cunningham after he signed this, or got basically what's essentially just an invite to camp, an opportunity, is that, he said all the right things, like, yeah, I've matured as a person and as a player. I'm not really the same guy that I was 3 years ago when I was last year. But one of the things that was interesting is he said that he's really been working on his shooting. And that's really going to be the key. Not only is it going to be the key to maybe him playing the 4, like some people are commenting, but it's the key to him even having a chance on the roster.
Yeah.
Because that would be what separates him from the other centers.
Yeah, 100%.
And, I mean, it'd be interesting.
Skal, I mean, like, because I don't, like, Skal, looking at his jump shot, he has a smooth jumper. It's the distance for him. You know, where it's like you look at Davion and it's like, yeah, he has potential, but I feel like that's kind of a stretch. Where it's like Skal, it's like he can hit a deep mid range. Like who's a good example who can hit, like even Fox, where it's like you're so good at the mid range. Like you move yourself 5 feet back though, it's like oof. It starts to that's Skal essentially. Just any mid range guy, DeMar DeRozan. You can hit the mid range well, but you step behind that arc, it gets a little different. And that's what he really needed to work on was that range. He has a great shooting form. He had a lot of arc. He had a good motion. So hopefully he did work on it. And he's a guy I believe could actually make the step to be a stretch 5 because he just has such good mechanics. Will he? I don't know. But I think it's more believable than other players. Like, I think he can. I honestly do think that.
Yeah. And I don't think that the Kings would have just made him this invite if they didn't think that was at least somewhat possible.
That's true.
Now, granted, he didn't really shoot the 3-ball very well in his G League. He's been playing in the G League the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And then so
I think there's only
I think there was only like 2 years of stats though.
I think he was in like Puerto Rico or something last year.
I think that's a G League team though.
No, he was in like Mexico City, which is a G League team.
That's the one that's a G League team. Well, point being though is that it's not really helping his cause, and a lot of it's speculation because we, as well as a lot of other people that are familiar with the Kings, despite having watched Skal Labissiere when he was drafted and whatnot, you really don't know what you're going to get out of this guy at this point. He's 3 years removed from being in the league. He's been working on stuff. He's really a question mark at this point. Whereas, we know what we're going to see out of Neemias Queta. We know what we're going to see out of Alex Len. Noel's kind of a question mark, but you kind of have an idea. It's such a vet like that.
Yeah.
Labissiere is kind of a wild card.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very intriguing. And like I said, I don't think the front office brings him in if they just for the hell of it. Just a feel-good story. Make him feel better, The franchise needs to do the guy right. I don't think they're just doing that. No. They're not doing that fake 49er type crap.
It was such an I always just, I was just lounging around one day and I looked at my phone. I'm like, we got Skal Labissiere. Am I reading this right? Like, just so random. Like I said, I like Skal and everything, but the Kings don't owe him anything. It was just, okay. Good for Skal. He's obviously worked on something to get a training camp invite at this point in his career. It was just random, though. I like Skal. I'm not, upset with this. It was, okay.
I do think there was a report that Harry Giles was doing a workout in Vegas, and I think there was one for Labissiere, too.
Okay.
And that was during Summer League, so early July.
Yeah, because Giles worked out for some teams.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised Giles. When was the last time Giles was in the league?
The league? I don't know. Two seasons ago in Portland?
Because he really seemed like, Labissiere had the high ceiling imagined. People had the high ceiling imagined for him, but it just seemed like Giles, it seemed like it was such a big mistake when they didn't extend that was it a qualifying offer?
It was a qualifying.
And so it basically allowed him to just be an unrestricted free agent. That just seemed like such a big mistake because it seemed like his floor was so solid. So to see him not really find footing in the league elsewhere was kind of shocking.
I wasn't surprised when they didn't extend that qualifying offer. He hadn't played really in his time in SAC. I think he sat out his rookie year because he had a knee injury. And then he didn't really play much in his second year. So I think by the third year, and I think that was when they didn't extend the qualifying offer. Yeah. It's like, whatever at this point. It's just, and clearly he's not in the league for a reason. I like Giles. A little undersized. He's again between the power forward center, but he's over 6'10", so he's a center. But that dude looks like he weighs $180 for being 6'10". Great passer, and that's what was kind of like his ceiling. And he's supposed to have a good mid range. I don't know if he ever really developed it, or it was good at the NBA level. But he was a good passer for a big, and a lot of people liked that. But, man, that guy had to put on some weight. He was very thin.
That would be interesting, the passing element, though, had the Kings.
That's true. He is a good passer. He's a very good passing big man.
But I just that whole thing of let's get a backup 5 at the limit that does what Sabonis does. It's like, they're never going to be the hub that Sabonis is. Mm-hmm. Why try for 10 minutes a game?
They tried with Giles, honestly. Giles ran the offense at points when he was out on the floor during his time. Because he was actually not too bad at the end of his stay in SAC in, I think, Luke Walton's first year, 1920.
1920?
Yeah. So that was...
You said 1920.
Oh, no, I was thinking 19-20.
Oh.
The 1920, yeah.
Oh, okay, well.
Sorry. The 2019-2020 season, I believe, was Walton's first year. Because the 18-19
I was going to say, though, 1920, I'm like, I don't think they were playing with nets on the rim then, were they?
That's funny. So, yeah, so I think because he didn't come back to the Kings after that year. That was the year the Kings actually got Alex Len the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he went to Portland for preseason. I don't know if he played. Harry Giles did. So I guess his last time in the league was 2020, I guess.
Now here's a real question about Harry Giles. Is his name Harrison Giles?
That's a great question.
Harrison. Why is it not Harry Barnes?
I know.
We call him Harry Barnes.
Is his name Harrison Giles, though? I don't know.
I doubt it. It can't be. Well, maybe it is.
What else would
Harry's
it be?
going to be short for Harold. It's either Harold or Harrison.
That's a good point. I need to look it up now.
Yeah. Or maybe, some people just go, your name Bobby?
I think it is just Harry.
Yeah.
His name's Harry. Okay.
Well, cool. That ain't so bad.
Yeah, I guess.
But Skal Labissiere, back
Who?
with the team.
Bring back Marvin Bagley while we're at it.
Oh my god, they should just bring them all back.
Yeah, Papianis.
Yeah. Who else here?
I don't know.
Go all the way back to Jason Thompson. How old is he? Like 40 now?
Jason Thompson,
JT?
dude. Kings bring back Jason Thompson on Exhibit 10.
Oh, man.
He's trying to get his record back for most games played in sack. Or he honestly probably still holds that.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
until Fox.
It is crazy because he sucked.
Yeah. I don't think he ever looked good.
If you can tell me what college Jason Thompson went to, I'll give you $20.
No, I'm not going to be able to get it.
Yeah. I think it's Ryder.
Really?
Yeah, I've never even heard of the college.
Ryder. I know you, Ryder.
It's right. The power forward out of Ryder. Jason Thompson. I don't know if I did that right, but Scott Moak. But
nobody can be Scott Moak except Scott Moak.
Scott Moak's a stud.
Scott Moak and Mears.
I love Scott. We actually have a good announce team. I like the Scott Fresh Shower too. The MC guy that's on the floor.
Oh,
he's pretty good too. They were at the All-Star games and stuff.
That's dope.
Yeah. Anyways, Skal Labissiere.
Skal Labissiere. Almost, kind of in an exaggerated way is a perfect example of running it back. You're really running it back when you bring back Skal Labissiere. But Mike Brown had his first interview of the offseason, I would say. I mean, technically, I think he had that one interview during one of the Summer League games. But those are always kind of just informal and
yeah.
But it was interesting, he was talking about how excited he is that they're bringing guys back. And it kind of drives in the point that it's like, man, if these guys can just do a little bit better on defense and capitalize in high-pressure situations, which they did pretty decently last season.
Yeah. Fox did.
That is just freaking Fox. Clutch player of the year, man. If he doesn't win it again this year, cut him. Get rid of him.
Oh, my God.
But, Mike Brown seems to think that, that's obviously going to come in and help. And one of the things that he said that was interesting about the new additions, he was kind of saying the same old stuff about Vezenkov because he was just saying, great shooter, quick trigger, tough guy. Okay, yeah, we don't know what he's going to be like in the NBA. Great. But it was interesting because he was kind of admitted, he was like, yeah, I didn't really watch Duarte at Oregon. And then I didn't even really know much about him in Indiana. But I've watched him in a few scrimmages and pickup games this summer. I like his game. Smooth, can score from all three levels. But one of the things he kind of pinpointed about him was his size. And I think Mike Brown has some high expectations for Duarte on defense. And, I guess Duarte's backup is technically Kessler Edwards.
Yeah.
Like the guy behind him on the depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
But Kessler Edwards has proven that he can make a considerable difference on the defensive end without being a major, buzzkill on offense.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd like to see him shoot a little better from three, but, he gave you what you needed to do.
Mm.
And the team's deep. Do you think that Chris Duarte is just going to be in the rotation all year, or do you think there's going to be kind of changes there?
Man,
because do you think of him as like I don't think of him as a bad defender, but like I never was like he's great, you know.
Yeah,
what Mike Brown does with him and what he does in a new environment could be different, but
it could be situational for sure. I mean, Edwards is the better defender. Chris Duarte is better all around,
yes,
more so than Kessler Edwards, but
big time.
I mean, sometimes you need that defense, and I mean that's going to be Edwards' job. I think Duarte will be the main guy off the bench, though, most nights for that backup 3 position behind Barnes. And thank God we didn't talk about. I mean, we're going to say it now. It's like we finally got a backup 3 for Barnes, and watch Duarte just suck
or get hurt.
Yeah, yeah, that wouldn't be crazy either. But no, I think it's Duarte's to lose. We'll see, though. You know, he didn't play too much last season. Had a down year. He was hurt. Didn't play as well as he did coming off his, really good rookie year, where I think he was first team all rookie. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I mean, like you said, outside of Fox and Sabonis, you need to do 2 things well on the Kings: play defense, shoot the 3 ball well. Mm-hmm. I mean, Kessler Edwards already does one of those things really well, and he has shown potential that he can play a little, or not play a little. He can shoot the 3 ball well. But I still think it's Duarte's to lose. A little more experience. It seemed like he has a higher ceiling than Edwards, and still a young player. Yeah. Might as well try to develop him still. Not develop him, but he's not a young player. He's an older rookie. He's like 26. But still, he's only in his 3rd year. Injury riddled already. But, yeah, he seems like the better player.
Yeah.
But we'll see. The defense is going to be important. It was Terrence Davis, didn't play much last season.
TD. He's still not signed.
Yeah.
We can talk about that in a second. One of the things I wanted to say about Duarte, though, about Mike Brown's comments, too, is he was talking about him being smooth with the ball in his hands and all that stuff, being able to get his own shot and, shoot off the catch and whatnot and all that stuff. But the way he was talking about him did make it seem like, it confirmed what we kind of assumed, that he's going to be another one of those kind of ball handling options. Mm-hmm. And especially with like the absence of granted, a 3rd point guard's not in the rotation, but it's just like, again, you have ample bodies that can kind of handle that, all that stuff. But one of the things that I just thought about was, I think James Ham wrote an article, James Ham dealing with the same stuff we're dealing with, which is, what do I write about? Well, he wrote a good article. He's like, well, how can the Kings keep Malik Monk next season? Kind of standard article and whatnot. But it got me thinking. I'm like, well, I remember when they drafted Colby Jones, I texted you, I'm like, Colby Jones in 2 or 3 years could play a similar role as Monk. Kind of like that 2-guard secondary ball handler that can, maybe not necessarily be Monk, but fill that kind of role. Yeah. And then I'm just thinking too, I'm like, well, Duarte's exactly like that too. Like he can kind of fill that role as well. And so, kind of coming off talking about the centers, which we'll get back into, but it's just like having that insurance, having extra bodies and whatnot. I mean, even if something happens this season where he plays himself out of the rotation for segments or whatnot, he's an option to have, to give a bigger role to develop with the team in case they can't retain Malik Monk. Because like Colby Jones, like let's say Malik Monk is just, you can't sign him next season. Will Colby Jones be ready to like step up and fill that role? Probably not.
No.
I don't think so, because I don't think he's going to play a lot this season.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if Colby Jones didn't do anything with his career.
That's fair. He's a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, tell me the last great 2nd-round Kings draft pick, other than Isaiah Thomas. Jamias Ramsey. Robert Woodard.
Oh, who's the little point guard?
Kyle guy.
McCollum?
Ray McCallum.
Ray McCallum, yeah.
He played a little and then did nothing afterwards.
Yeah, they tried to make him their backup point guard as a rookie, right?
I think
Didn't he play
so.
like some rotational minutes there?
I remember at the end of his rookie season, he started and he scored he had a 20-10 game against the Lakers. Everyone's like, this is the guy. Like in game 78, and we're already like, the Lakers suck too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Ray McCallum. But, 2nd rounders, I always say it, are 2nd rounders. Name is Keita.
Keita, man. Keita, they would just...
Although the Kings trade away a lot of good 2nd rounders, I feel like. I feel like we got rid of Kenyon Martin Jr. We traded Man, he's on the Rock. I think he's on the Rockets too. This other guy last season. Man, I don't remember their names.
The second round pick from last season?
Mm-hmm. Or no, we traded. Like we always like draft them and then trade them the same night.
But last year's Jaden Hardy or Jalen Hardy?
Yeah.
And he's on the Mavs.
Oh, he's on the Mavs. Yeah,
different Texas team.
I think it was him. Yeah, because he's been pretty solid.
He's had some good moments. I think one of the games where the Kings and Mavericks played back-to-back games, I think it was the first one. I think he had like a really good quarter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at that guy. Kings drafted that guy.
Yeah, I think there was one other guy that Kings traded to. It's like, why don't you keep these guys and trade the Katas? No, he's 7'3". Or how tall is Kata?
He's 7 foot. 7'1". He might be 7'1".
Yeah.
I don't know. Once you get to the 7 foot range, because I feel like even when you look up Alex Len, some people have him listed as 7'1", 7 foot. I don't know. Does it make a difference? You're over 6'11".
Yeah, honestly.
You're in a class of its own.
That's true.
But
insanity.
But that's just kind of like an interesting thought about Duarte, because it was just interesting to hear Mike Brown kind of like note that. I don't really know anything about him. I'm just doing my homework on him now. I'm like, oh, okay, right.
McNair calls him Brown. Dude, I just traded for Chris Duarte. Who? Who?
What?
Dude, Chris Duarte?
Duarte?
She's like, oh, yeah.
Oh, him, yeah. I love
yeah.
Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we needed a center.
Yeah, Chris.
I mean, a wing. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Duarte.
Duarte? That's what Mike Brown called him? Duarte? Fucking clown.
The Duarte Club.
We're throwing Dartes.
Anyways, Chris Duarte, cool. We'll see. But getting back to the fun part, the most interesting part of this offseason so far, the center role, the backup center role. Who's going to get it? Well, the third, I guess, center, assuming Sabonis. Assuming Sabonis will start. I don't know.
If he can hang on.
Neemias Queta, giving him a run for his money.
Oh,
but there's 4 guys fighting for that third center spot that Lynn had last year behind Metu. We got Lynn, Noel. I think you already said the names earlier, but Lynn, Noel, Queta, and now Labissiere. Who do you think's gonna get that third center role?
How about we assess? Why don't we go through each of these guys? Maybe not grade them, but go through categories and go off of a point system here. Because, if we look at like different aspects of the game of basketball as a center, awareness, chemistry and comfort with the team, interior defense, the ability to switch on defense, rebounding, inside scoring, and jump shooting. If we go through, maybe, because there's 4 guys we're talking about, right? Including Lynn.
Yeah.
Because, Lynn's going to be on the roster, but while I do think he has a good chance to be the backup center, nothing's guaranteed.
No.
Noel could show up and be that guy that everybody thought he was going to be, or be that guy that he was in New York.
Yeah.
And then that'd be awesome. Yeah. But, so I think it's fair to go through. Maybe we go through, give... for each of those categories, we rank the best guy, maybe the second best guy. The other 2 don't get any points. Maybe do 2 points for the best, 1 point for the second best.
Sure.
So there's not too much separation.
I like it.
And,
add it up, and whoever does it, we're going to write a strongly worded letter to Mike Brown, showing him our studies, our what would you call us?
Our data.
Our data.
We're going to just rip out this little half slip of paper. Put it in one of those big envelopes.
Just going to mail it to Golden One Center. Just Mike Brown. And do the address. Mike Brown.
Don't even put stamps on it. Put it right in the mailbox themselves.
Yeah. Okay, first one. What's the category we're starting off with?
Let's start with awareness, which would basically include just floor awareness, what to do with the ball, passing awareness, making the right move. Okay. Let's start here.
Let's start with who's not going to get it.
Let's just say that Kate is not. Kate is probably Skal too is probably last because I don't think they're gonna be able to compete with the other 2 considering their veteran status.
Yeah,
that's not necessarily a condemnation of Skal and Queta, although it kind of is. Len and Noel have been in the league for so long; they've carved out careers because they've been able to, especially Len, just be able to put his head down and do the right thing. Which is why I would make the argument, especially maybe with the continuity aspect, which I think definitely comes into play and gives Len an advantage in these first two categories. I mean, obviously the second one's going to go to Len, but we'll get there when we get there. I kind of would make the argument that Len would have the best awareness, not by a huge margin. Slim margin there, but only because we were kind of noting the fact that Noel, despite being that veteran, he had a weird season last year. We don't know what he's going to bring to the table necessarily. I think it would be fair to give Len that first go.
I agree. So
no pushback.
I got no pushback. I don't got much on Noel.
I don't blame you.
Team chemistry, though?
Team chemistry.
I mean, Len.
Len's got to go number one.
Len's got to go one, clearly, because he's been on the team.
And then you got to go with the guy that played on the team last season.
Kada.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, are there any connections? Skal knows Fox. Skal knows...
I think that's it.
That's it.
It's
crazy. Wow.
It's got to be Kada.
Yes. And I don't think Noel knows anybody. If Rashawn Holmes was still on the team, you guys are pals. So Kada gets some points.
Kada, he's above Skal.
On the
and tied with Noel.
For now, yeah. Well, tied with Noel. Kada's got a shot.
He's in second place.
This is really. It's like watching a race, horse racing right now.
Len's running away though. Interior
defense. Again, it's gonna like we started. I'm sorry, it's not gonna be Skal.
It's not gonna be Skal.
Definitely not Skal because that's not necessarily his strength. Kada, that is kind of his strength, but watch our summer league breakdown of Kada.
Yeah.
A little bit delayed reaction time. He has great size and whatnot, but he can really negate that by taking his eye off the ball and not being quick instinctually. So he's good, and that's obviously one of the more intriguing things about him is his ability to block shots and protect the rim. But is he better than Len and Noel? I would say no.
No. But who would you give number one to? How was Noel's interior last season?
Well, it was pretty good in limited action, though. The one thing I'd say is if this was a year ago and we were talking about this, I'd say Noel, because Noel is quicker to the ball. I think he's quicker on his feet. He can get that reaction time up. But it's a little closer now, because what Lynn showed, especially late last season, was that, okay, he can move. I mean, it's surprising, but it's also not surprising, because we've seen Lynn play. We kind of know it. But when he busts his tail to kind of get there and get a block, he does it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very good at it.
Lynn was really good.
Yeah, very good quickness for that size.
Yeah.
And I think he was another one of those guys, along with Trey Lyles, that came into camp in really, really good shape.
Mm-hmm.
And so I imagine he'll do the same thing. So it's a little close.
I'm going to give it to Len again.
Let me put out this stat, though. Career blocks per game, it's not even close. Len averages just under 1 at 0.9 per game. Noel, 1.5. The year that he played with the New York Knicks and had that really good year as a backup, I think he averaged over 2. I think it was 2.1 or 2.2, maybe even 2 point something. It was 2 point something.
Okay. I see your point, and this was honestly a toss-up, because, we're getting Knicks Noel than him, but it's like...
that's a good point.
That was the 2 years ago. Yeah, it's a question mark. He didn't really have a good season last year. Where Len, but I'm honestly good at giving it to either, because he has proven that he is a good interior defender, and it's and my point for Len's going to be, well, he played great down the stretch last season in the interior, but again, that was only a stretch of games. He barely played last season. I'm going to give it to Noel just because for career consistency.
I think that's going to be the tiebreaker, is just looking at just big scope of it, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
So we'll go to Noel.
Noel,
Interior D, and Len. And it just seems like whenever it's Noel, Len, and again, this is a pre-training camp assessment, but...
give us a break. It's August.
You know about as much as we do.
Yeah.
About as much as Mike Brown knows, apparently. But yeah, it seems like it's a very thin margin between them, which just makes it so tough for Kada.
Is Skal even going to get a point?
We're going to get there. I
was thinking about it.
We're going to get there. Switchability on defense. I mean, I tell you right now.
Not Kada.
Not Kada.
And Skal? I don't know. He's a question mark.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember his defense.
His lateral quickness, Well, he played the 4. You'd think he would get more of an idea of what he was like.
Yeah, I don't remember. Honestly, I don't think it was that special.
Is this not riveting conversation? Are you yawning? Switchability on defense.
I don't know. I wish I knew a little more about Noel.
I mean, I think that...
Because Len was actually not terrible.
Len held his own.
Yeah.
Although there were moments early in the season where he didn't. But it just seems like when Len is comfortable, he's comfortable. And he just kind of does everything pretty decently.
Yeah.
But Noel is Noel. And no matter how much Len moves well for his size, Noel's got to be the most laterally quick.
He has
of
to
the
be.
4. And so... And and I don't want to, like, just dog on Keita.
But no, it's a great opportunity.
Well, to be fair to him, like, he's had some moments where he kind of can switch, but when you don't have the balance and the kind of ability to move fluidly, it really hurts you.
Yeah.
And he's already so susceptible to fouling at the rim, meeting guys there with his hands. What's he going to do when he's on a guy? Yeah. He's going to be hugging him. Yeah. He'll be treating him like one of them body pillows.
He's got it.
So... I think you just got to go Noel Len. I can call him Noel.
I always thought it was Nerlens Noel, honestly.
Nerlens Noel?
That's how he came out the draft.
Nerlens Noel?
Yeah, I'm good with Noel Len again.
All right.
I mean, that's Noel's thing, is defense at the end of the day.
Yes. I think that is good. Now, this one's just tough because it's not like any of these guys are bad at rebounding. But who's the best rebounder? This would probably have been a good one to do research on the stats.
I'll pull it up. I think Len just is better at boxing out.
Len's got a great vertical size and he's got great, body size, frame size.
Yeah. Okay, let's see.
But Keita's a really nifty rebounder. He had some really nice offensive. Again, it's just fucking summer league. But I mean, Keita deserves some. I mean, I think in terms of translatability to the NBA, that's his best skill.
That's a good point. Okay. Well, Len has what am I looking at? Career averages?
Career per 36.
I know. I'm trying to.
Okay.
I was thinking about that same. Dang, Noel. That's actually kind of a good rebounder. Per 36 minutes. Okay, in his career, Noel is 9.9 rebounds per 36. That's actually a lot better than I thought.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. That's what I just said. Alex, I like Alex Len, though. Alex Len has a great body. He has a big frame, solid frame. I always liked his rebound. He's 11.2 in his per 36. I was personally going to give it to Len and then Noel, but I didn't really think much about Keita. I'm pretty sure Skal will not be in this conversation, but I like the per 36 to kind of do this. Let's see. Keita per 36, 10.1. It's a little higher than, Noel. But it's also in a very much more limited sample size. Mm-hmm. And then we'll just do Skal. Just, give everyone an opportunity to look or have their stats shown. Per 36, Skal. Rebounds, 9.2. So he's the lowest. His career high just in non-per 36 was 3.4 his rookie year.
In how many minutes?
18.5. And his most minutes a game in his second year, 20.7 minutes per game. He only grabbed 4.8.
Okay, so no to Skal.
Yeah, no to Skal.
I'm going to put Len down as number 1 because I agree.
Yeah.
It's like, do I want to give it to Keita because I feel bad for Keita? I don't know. That sounds so mean. I feel bad for him. It's a pity point.
It's kind of like it is. That's why. I'm gonna give it to Noel.
Noel.
I am, but if you say Keita, if you strongly believe it's Keita, then I will change my mind.
Well, it's like the question of when you put it this way, is Keita a better rebounder than Noel? And I'd be like, not necessarily. Yeah. All right, Noel. Because at the end of the day, the two front runners for the backup 5 job going into camp, pre-camp assessment, is Alex Len and Nerlens Noel. So we should not be surprised that it's Len, Noel. Len, Keita. Okay, Noel, Len. Noel, Len. Len, Noel. Inside scoring, Len,
right?
I think I looked it up, and I think that both...
Oh, really?
I didn't do the rebounding, though. But I looked it up, and I believe that in terms of scoring efficiency, both an overall field goal percentage and 2-point field goal percentage, Noel is more efficient. He's like, I think 56% field goal percentage type guy, and Len's a little closer to 50%. And also, and I hate bringing it up because even if you get a good...
I didn't look this up.
Look it up, but even if you get a good version of Nerlens Noel, it's not necessarily going to be that 1 year with the Knicks. But that 1 year with the Knicks, I think he had an over 60% field goal percentage.
Okay, yeah, he did because he was actually right behind Holmes all year.
Yeah,
it was between them two.
And he's the type of guy too that like when you watch, like I've said on this podcast before, because of his limited action last season, you can, basically watch every shot attempt that he's ever made or ever took this past season because he didn't take many, and he continues to show some niftiness around the rim, kind of up and under, good patience to use a pump fake. I just think that if I remember that kind of quick little research of looking into the efficiency of scoring from them.
Yeah, you're right. I honestly thought Alex Len shot a lot better last year. I thought he was going to be in the 60s, but no, he shot 53. But it's better than Noel in Brooklyn. He only shot 16%.
What a rough go.
No, but in his time in New York, he shot, even in OKC the season before that, he shot 68% from the field.
Yeah.
Which means he's probably higher from two. And 61 in New York the season after. Then he kind of dropped to 53 in his last year in New York.
Which was a weird year.
Yeah, and last year he was just awful, 36%. But, yeah, career, he's usually he's at 44% for his career. But definitely in his better years, he's hanging closer to 60 than Len.
Mm-hmm. And I remember we were talking about it the other day, or not the other day, but we were talking about the Nerlens Noel signing last month. Because it was fresh off that New York Knicks year when they were trying to sign Holmes, the Kings that is. And Nerlens Noel was always mentioned as kind of like a backup plan because he's another efficient scorer that can hit that push shot.
Yeah.
I think that alone kind of earns Noel a go. I don't think it's going to be Keita, number 2.
For inside?
Yeah, does Skal have any play on Len, you think?
No, I don't. Not at all. I think Skal will get mentioned a little more for outside shooting.
Which is our last category. And you asked, does Skal have any chance to get on this list and get a point? And I tell you, I think he does here. He's got an opportunity.
Len does as well.
I was going to say, it's got to be between him and Len.
Yeah.
Granted, Neemias Queta, honorable mention for what he did last summer.
Yep.
But I think he took 1 or 2 this past summer league and bricked him. But so honorable mention to Keita, but Skal and Len.
I think Skal gets it. He's a career 35% 3-point shooter, which is honestly a lot higher than I thought. Still, his most 3 attempts in a season is 0.8. So yeah. Very small sample size. No, that's not even total. 0.9 at 35%. So I think Skal wins this for sure.
Yeah, and Len definitely gets credit, but when you look at his 3-point percentages in his career, it's very skewed by his 38% season in Atlanta.
Yeah, which
really helped him, and it's he never replicated that again. And while he shot well at Eurobasket last year, he never. I don't even think he took a 3 this season.
Did he not?
It might have been some garbage time one.
Yeah, he takes him in the corner occasionally. let me look it up. I'm pretty sure he did take some 3s this season. But at the end of the day, who do you want? Even if Alex Len has a higher career 3-point percentage, it's you'd probably rather have Skal be shooting more outside shots. It's more
in tune with his game.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I said, he's going to have to shoot.
Oh yeah, he did not make a 3. He did the season before, though. At 28%. Yeah. Okay, so Skal wins it. Len's number 2. He can shoot the 3. I've seen him make 3s. So Skal 2 points, Gryffindor.
All right, let's tally this up, huh?
I think it's going to be closer about Len and Noel than I think, but Len's going to win, as we probably assumed.
I just lost my place.
Are you stupid?
Maybe.
You even turn on the light?
No.
We're doing it with the lights. We're having a lights off podcast.
I can't stand looking at Tony, so we have to turn the lights off. It's better for our relationship, you know?
It's a blackout. John was in remedial math, so it might take some time.
Yeah, I have to count on my fingers. Okay. We have it.
Wow. Closer than I thought.
Very close. Let's go in reverse order. Kada, 1 point.
Wow.
Skal, 2 points.
Wow. Surprising.
Earning that bronze medal.
He got that, yeah.
He's looking at Katie. He's like, dude, I doubled with you. And then, very close between first and second. First place had 11 points. Second place had 10 points. Len came out on top. Noel, just behind him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how we imagined this would go.
It was more for the Lynn Noel case, I feel like. Maybe a surprise. But it is going to be interesting because I could see Noel winning the spot over Lynn. I really can.
It's possible.
It's 100% possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be between them two. Lynn has, he's been here it'll be his third season here in SAC, so I think he has the advantage in that sense. And he also played very well down the stretch. He's lucky he played well down the stretch, or I'd say no, it's Noel's job.
Yeah, well, they probably wouldn't have re-signed him.
That's a good point. But
they probably would have brought back Chimezi Met. No. I don't think they were going to do that.
No. So we'll see how camp goes, but Len and Noel is your third backup 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm better than having Chimezi Metu as your second backup. Yeah. Holmes is supposed to be, but we know how that went.
Holmes.
What's up, Holmes alone?
Well, I had one more thing to say on this podcast.
Let's say it.
Trey Lyles is the only Trey in Northern California now, so I can just call him Trey.
Trey.
He's just Trey.
Are you upset with the Niners trading Trey Lance?
I'm upset with the overall
situation.
The whole situation.
Yeah. The
whole situation. Just I don't know. It's complicated. You can't just all pin it on the team, but man, I don't know. Kyle Shanahan's never been able to assess a quarterback, and the 49ers always do stuff off of what John Lynch called early returns, because he said, Brock Purdy, the early returns are good. He said that about Jimmy Garoppolo before you gave him the biggest contract ever. Who else did you say that about? Geez, it's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's strange. But at the end of the day, it seems like it's good for the kid, Trey Lance, and let's see what he can do. But this is a Kings Talk podcast. Yeah. And so the only Trey I care about is Trey Lyles. Who looks like a friend of mine. And I'm just like, I'm going to dump my friend and just be like, no, Trey Lyles is my top 8 on MySpace. My guy.
Dude, I love Trey.
So hit me up, Trey.
What's up, Trey? Trey Lyles?
Ice Trey. Ice Trey. That's such a dumb nickname.
I love it, actually. I never thought of it.
Ice Trey.
It is weird. You got Trey Young, though. It's probably his
Trey. There's a double meaning to it, because if he hits a 3 that ices the game, that is an ice tray. Yeah. Nice tray. Dude. More like mean tray. Okay. Well, we need to stop beating around the bush here and let you guys go. Well, yeah. Thank you for tuning in. It's August. It's going to be September next time we talk. So hopefully a little more is going on. Training camp's nearing. Still about a month away from training camp, though. But I want to thank you all for joining in. And until next time, have a good one.